It's been bad out there. Where do the cancellations stand? And is there any indication things may get any better?
Yeah, it's still pretty bad on Monday. We're seeing more than 1,700 cancellations. That's a little bit better than what we saw. It's 2,700 plus over the weekend. It's pretty bad news for travelers, and it's definitely bad news for airlines as well. They were really banking on this holiday season going smoothly, expecting some of the busiest days since the pandemic began, really ramping up their schedules and ramping up staffing to match it. But like you said, they had bad weather, winter storm, going all the way from the Midwest, some weather out in the Pacific Northwest as well, now hitting DC. So it's been around the country, but that's been combining with the Omicron infections, which of course, is affecting various industries, and it's affecting airline staff, leaving airlines a little bit short-staffed, pilots and flight attendants and others.
Yeah, you got somebody test positive, then everybody's in close contact because, my God, Leslie, you're on a plane. If that's not the definition of close contact, I don't know what is. So you got the staffing issues there. What can the airlines do to try to beef up their staffing? Is there anything they can do?
Well, what they've been doing so far, we saw United offering pilots triple pay to pick up open trips. And that's an incentive that's passed for most of January, an indication that the airline is significantly worried enough that they wouldn't have enough staff, that they're going to throw some extra money at the problem, which is something that we've seen airlines do throughout the pandemic when they've been short-staffed for additional incentives. American, Southwest have done this months before the holiday season so that period would go smoothly for them. Spirit Airlines, Alaska also offering incentives, extra pay for flight attendants, at least through January 4th, and we'll see how long that lasts. So it is going to cost airlines quite a bit, in addition to the refunds that they are likely going to have to give tens of thousands of passengers.
Yeah, what is any sign in the near term, Leslie, this is going to get better? And do you have any kind of a macro outlook for the remainder of the year? What kind of a year is this going to be for flying?
I mean, making predictions in January about airlines is always a tricky venture. But what we're seeing so far in the numbers this week, the cancellations should start to alleviate with the weather improving. Starting tomorrow, we're only seeing about 200, 250 cancellations on the board for U.S. flights. How the rest of the year looks, it's a little bit tricky because you have a seasonal lull after the holiday period, so you don't have a lot of people traveling. But with the rise of these Omicron infections, you could see businesses also pushing back some business trips, return to office. We're already seeing some delays there. So that could kind of lighten the passenger load on airlines that might be a little bit short-staffed. But they, of course, need the revenue. These have been two bruising years for airlines, probably one of the most affected industries by the pandemic. But what we've heard from airline executives is that the second half of the year or later in the year, it is expected to get much better. A lot of people have put off trips throughout much of the pandemic. International travel is supposed to come back in a really big way in the summer. So it does remain to be seen. Yeah. And some of these predictions hold true about Omicron infections peaking somewhat soon in the next few weeks and then kind of falling off. That it could pan out that way.